Also speaks to the fact that a lot of what we have in change coming is cultural change, acceptance of new paradigms, patterning of the new paradigms to match what you're used to, understanding how they work together, and then moving forward.
There's one other point I think is worth making. It's a little bit subtle, which is that the reason I like Istio is not the reason you usually hear. And the reason is that it takes policy implementation out of the source code of your microservice and puts it essentially into the Envoy proxy. That sounds like a small change, but it's actually a very big change. And the reason it's a big change is it means that if you separate operations and development, and operations says, I want to enforce certain policies and I want to change a policy, they can now change that policy through the Istio layer without changing any of the deployed services, and in particular without negotiating with developers about what should go in their source code in order to implement the new policy. Right? I don't want to have that discussion at all. Right? It historically doesn't go well. It's a source of friction, and it slows down developers, and it makes central IT the bad guys.
And to be clear, though, I think people have to understand the point of Istio, it provides a framework to wrap your mind around. I've seen people do this with libraries, where there's someone that builds an application tier set of libraries that maybe you don't want to use the service mesh, and you can implement some of this policy, because there's still some, there's off-in, like who you are, and off-Z of what you can do, and sometimes the developer will have to influence the details about what you can access in the database that you may not be able to do from outside. But the whole goal is write down the policy. If you're confused, jump on the whiteboard. If you have to start with a question mark, that's a better starting point than saying things like hybrid, distributed, authentic. Just write it down. I think you're going to arrive to the solution.